Hi friends, this is Aamir Qutub, and today I'm gonna talk about doing MBA from Australia, and I would emphasize on the people who have no prior work experience at all. So I get a lot of phone calls and queries and emails from my relatives, friends, people who know me and people who don't know me, that they want to do MBA from Australia, any university, and they do not have work experience, which means they have just graduated out of their bachelor's, they have completed their degree in engineering or degree in commerce or arts or science, and now they want to do MBA. So before I talk about the prospects, there's one thing that I would like to highlight over here. There's a big difference between the culture of India and culture of Australia. So we have got this culture in India where we study continuously from year one to at least till when we complete our bachelor's. So there's no gap between our 10th class, 12th class, and then our bachelor's. We do it continuously, or sometimes we take do a drop year for preparing for the competitive examinations. But it's a very rare case where people uh, go for work after year 10 or go for work after year 12 or even do a part-time work while they are studying, maybe because our curriculum and our academic the overall academic curriculum is quite difficult and it's quite cumbersome and it doesn't allow students time to do part-time work. Well, the culture in Australia is quite different. So, in Australia, you are expected to work while you are studying. So, you are expected to do the part time work. So, once you complete while you are in year 9 or year 10, you are expected to do a part time job, and it can be an odd job. It can be a job in McDonald's, it can be a job in restaurant, it can be a job as an office admin or office secretary. Once you complete year 10, there's this trend of students doing a work for experience or work experience program, which is like 6 months or 1 year work experience where students work in different organizations or industries to get a work experience, and then they go for year 11 or year 12 or maybe a diploma or maybe a certificate course. And after completing year 12, they uh, take an year off or they go and work in different fields again. And while they are doing their year 9, 10, 11, 12, they are actually working in one or the other industries. And then they finalize their field for their bachelor's degree. And while they are doing their bachelor's degree, they are working in that field or in any other field again. So if you look at a CV of a person who has resided and studied in Australia, you would see that he would have an educational qualifications, but he would have a lot of work experience, and the work experience could be of McDonald's. Work experience could be of retail or tourism or hospitality, but there would be a definite work experience, and there would be some references. If you look at the CV or resume of a person who is graduated from India, you would see that he would have the academic qualification, and if he haven't worked anywhere, like if he haven't passed his bachelor's and gone into a job, you wouldn't see that there wouldn't be much work experience. The only thing that you see is probably 3 months summer internship somewhere. Now, in Australia, employers expect people to have work experience, and it's quite important for them. So they, first of all, they expect a local work experience, and if you not have a local work experience, at least an international work experience to get you started into a smaller organization. So that's the and when it comes to MBA, you are expected to have work experience. You are expected to have at least 2 or 3 years of work experience. Although there are some universities in Australia which allow you to do MBA as fresher, but this is a basic expectation that if you are doing Masters of Business Administration, you would have worked in the business environment for 2 or 3 years, and that's when the Masters of Business Administration is valued. Now, the second misconception or the second interesting concept that you would need to understand about Australia is that we do not have the courses as well defined as we have in India. So in India, we would have a bachelor's of technology course, a master in communication course, or a master in business administration course. But in Australia, we will not have uh, these courses well defined by the name. But what we do is people take admission into bachelor's or masters, and they choose different units according to their interests, and then those units combined together form a specialization or form a course, and which means that MBA is not as valued in Australia as it is valued back there in India. The third interesting thing is that there's this common phenomenon in India that once you are in final year, your college invites companies for the campus placements. Like most of the engineering colleges, college students are recruited by all these companies, even with MBA colleges as well. Now, in Australia, even if you are studying in a top notch university, there is no concept of campus placement, which means it is not very easy to get jobs after you graduate. It means you cannot rely only on doing a particular course for getting job. While you are doing a particular course, you need to build your connection in the industry, start working part-time from a very lower level, and then work up the ladder. So you wouldn't see a large multinational company or a bank coming and hiring you because you have got very good marks in your MBA over here in Australia, and saying, all right, you are the manager or the assistant manager or the retail manager over here. No, it wouldn't happen at all. Trust me, it doesn't happen in Australia. In Australia, educational qualifications matter, but what matters more is the work experience, and of course the local work experience. So even if you have done bachelor's and you haven't, like, you have scored average mark, that's fine, but if you have got a relevant work experience, you will be given priority over a person who is doing masters but he doesn't have any work experience. So my my recommendation to you is that if you want to do MBA from Australia or from, I'm not very sure about other countries. Like I'm sure about other countries as well in terms of MBA. If you want to do MBA, especially from all these countries, first get some work experience, because that's when you would be able to even enjoy your MBA. You would be able to understand what they are talking about, what your professors are talking about, and it would allow you to appreciate the importance of the subjects that they are teaching over there and implement that knowledge into the industry environment. It's very difficult if you haven't worked at all in India to come here, do your masters, and especially masters in business administration, and get a job. And there are so many students who suffer to get a job, and then they blame Australia, uh, that we came to Australia but we are not able to get jobs. We are just driving taxis, working in 7-Eleven or gas stations, or we are just doing some odd jobs but not able to get jobs. There's one more important thing that we all should consider before thinking about moving to Australia. Now, if you are coming for a less than 2 years course, so MBA is a 1.5 years course in Australia. Look, you only get a work visa in Australia if you have 2 years of, if you do a 2 years course in Australia. So if you do a 2 years course in Australia, you get a 2 years of work visa after that. And that work visa allows you to work full time in any of the companies. But again, for most of the Australian, especially Australian government organization or most of large organizations, they require you to have permanent residency if you want to work in those companies. Now, permanent residency is another different issue at altogether, and it's not related directly to the course you are doing. And I would take it, like, I would explain it in some other video. But one thing that you need to understand is that sometimes your education agent, or maybe even your university would tell you that if you are doing this particular course, you will get PR as soon as you finish your course. It doesn't happen like that. Permanent residency is altogether a different category, and you can, even without any experience, can get a permanent residency of Australia while you are sitting in India. You might not even need to do a course which costs you around $56,000 for 2 years, which is around how much, 30 lakh rupees, 30 lakh Indian rupees. You might not even need to spend all that money in doing a course from Australia. You might be able to get PR just sitting in India. Or sometimes, if your points are not complete, you might have to do some course and complete that. So do not decide on a course once until and unless you are sure about all the things that I have mentioned, and until and unless you are sure about your permanent residency criteria, because that's really important to be able to live and work in Australia. I hope this video was useful. Please feel free to get in touch with me and post your questions in comments, and I would be more than happy to make another video to answer your questions. Till then, goodbye and best of luck. Thank you.